Hey, church family. I wanted to take this opportunity to present you with another word of encouragement as we continue to pray for the recovery of our country. Now, it was Monday, August the 10th, when a summer storm known as a derecho wreaked havoc from Nebraska all the way to Indiana. The storm, which actually lasted 14 hours, it severely damaged thousands and thousands of homes and schools and businesses, and it had destroyed more than 10 million acres of Iowa's corn and soybean crops. And while most of us have probably never heard of a derecho, one witness actually compared this storm to a tornado which was 70 miles across. 70 miles across. It's massive. 11 days later, 11,000 lightning strikes lit up the skies in Northern California. And as a result of this lightning siege, more than 370 new fires were sparked in 7 different counties surrounding San Francisco, which so far have destroyed more than 300,000 acres of land. Now, if a derecho in Iowa and a lightning siege in California, followed by widespread fires, aren't strange enough occurrences, well, now we have another weather anomaly as 2 tropical storms named Laura and Marco are both beginning to make their way into the Gulf of Mexico. These storms are projected to arrive together early next week, and while they might make landfall in 2 different locations along the Gulf Coast, we can't help but to wonder if they could potentially form into one huge, massive hurricane. But either way, we don't typically see 2 hurricanes forming at the same time in the same place. It's incredible. Now, is all of this coincidental that all of these unusual weather patterns are occurring in the same year as the coronavirus? Not to mention, we find ourselves in a time of extreme civil unrest, which has impacted every major city in America, resulting in cities on fire. Is it all just a coincidence that all of this is also taking place in the same year that President Trump has established the foundations for peace in the Middle East, as Israel and the United Arab Emirates sign a historic agreement which is better known as the Abraham Accord? Meanwhile, many insist that the Israeli-Emirati agreement here is only going to cause further conflict between Israel and Iran and others there in the Middle East. It's just amazing, all of these things that are happening simultaneously. And as we consider everything that's happening in the world today, I can't help but to wonder, is it possible that the Lord is trying to get our attention? Is it possible that the Lord is trying to wake up a sleeping church? Is it possible that the Lord is trying to help us to realize what time it is on the prophetic calendar? In order to understand my point, let's take a moment to consider the Lord's description of the events that will take place just before his return. It's in Luke chapter 21 where Jesus declares, "Take heed that you be not deceived, for many will come in my name, saying, I am he, and the time has drawn near, therefore do not go after them. But when you hear of wars and commotions, do not be terrified. These things must come to pass first, but the end will not come immediately." Then he said to them, "Nation will rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and there will be great earthquakes in various places, and famines and pestilences, and there will be fearful sights and great signs from heaven. But before all these things, they will lay their hands on you and persecute you, delivering you up to the synagogues and prisons. You'll be brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake, but it will turn out for you as an occasion for testimony." Without debate, the Lord's description of the events that take place before the time of tribulation, they sound a lot like the times in which we are living in. And that's great news for us because, listen, this provides us with the opportunity to present a testimony. This is an occasion for our testimony so that we can stand by faith with the Lord Jesus Christ and proclaim the gospel message here in these last days. And not only that, but this is also great news because Jesus summed up this prophecy by declaring this. He says, "When these things begin to happen, look up and lift up your heads because your redemption draws near." Christian, listen, rather than living in fear of all these things that are happening, rather than falling away from our fellowship of faith, rather than running and hiding from all these things that are taking place, let's instead allow the strange events happening in the world today to remind us that our redemption draws near. And all of this is an occasion for our testimony. With this as our goal, I invite you to join us this Sunday. Tomorrow, Calvary South Austin, we're going to have services at 9:15 and 11:15 a.m. And we're going to continue to study the scriptures together. And if you'd like to know more about our service times and the measures that we're taking to sanitize our facilities, well, you can find all this information right here at calvarysouthaustin.com. I hope to see you soon. But until I do, let's continue to fight the good fight of faith, all for the glory of God.